Hi, everybody. Welcome. I think it's just me at this point. Maybe someone else will join, but we'll just go ahead anyway. So, I wanted to talk about facades today. I heard a couple of guys, men, talking about this the other day, and they used the term game face, putting on your game face. So, what is that? Well, it's when we try and be who we are not. We put on a fake, a facade. So my dad used to have a facade. He used to be very different in public versus in private. So he would be really angry when someone pushed the doorbell. When someone was at the door, he would be really angry. And then he'd open the door and he'd pretend like he was totally happy to see whoever was there. And that was a facade. It was not his true self. Another example, I had a friend, he died a couple of years ago. And for the last couple of years of his life, I tapped with him. I used EFT with him. We went through his whole life, all his traumas and everything that had happened in his life. And he got to the place where he fully trusted me. He knew I wasn't going to judge him at all. So he was very comfortable. He did not have a facade with me. But he was very aware that he had a facade with other people. He was a teacher and he had a teaching facade. You could tell when he was in teacher mode, he was different from his non-teacher mode. He also had a parenting mode. When he was with his special needs daughter, he talked in a different way. He held himself in a different way. And one day he was at home and he was talking to two good friends of his, and I was walking up the stairs. It sounded like he was on the phone. And then I realized that he was talking to a couple of good friends that I'd not seen him interact with before. And it was a facade. I could tell it was a facade because he sounded different. So the word facade, we often think of it in terms of a building. It's actually the name of the outside, the exterior front of a building, which is often fake. So we have that in ourselves too. It's our face. It's our facial expression. And I know it may be hard to believe, but when we change our facial expression, when we hold ourselves in a different place from normal, we're actually affecting the fascia, the connective tissue, and it is connected throughout our whole body. So when we hold ourselves in a way that is not our natural place, our natural position, we're actually holding tension in our body, all the way through our body. We're holding ourselves in tension. Now, I remember in the past, I never wanted to go out because I knew I was always going to be really drained when I came back, especially if it was a function, like a social situation. They would always really drain me. And I realized over the years it's because I was putting on a facade, because I didn't feel like my true self was worthy of being out there. So I put on a facade, and it's exhausting to do that. It takes so much energy out of ourselves to hold ourselves in a facade, in an unnatural posture. One of the ways to know then if you are putting on a facade is to recognize if you relax once you're out of that situation. If you recognize that when you get home, you're going to be able to relax, or when you walk out of the room, you can relax, right? Then you know that the situation you were in, you were putting on a facade. You were holding yourself in tension. So what we want to do to become our true selves is to recognize that and to work on releasing that facade, releasing that tension that is stored in our facial muscles, in our fascia, in our connective tissue. So the way to do that, the first step is always to notice if you are relaxing after you've come out of a situation. So then you can realize, okay, in that situation, you are putting on a facade. Once you're aware of it, then you can do something about it. So either you can do something about it in the moment, right? If you notice you're in a situation and you are experiencing a facade, you have a facade on, you have your game face on, then you can do something about it right then and there if you can. So there's two ways, I talk about two ways of doing that, right? There's the EFT. So you can tap on, this is not my true self. I'm holding myself tense. What is it I'm afraid of? I'm afraid of showing my true self. I'm afraid of people thinking I'm a fake. I'm afraid of people thinking whatever it is. So work it out, what you're feeling in that moment. The other way is, if you can't tap in the moment, or if you have a deeper level of awareness, if you can feel that tension, because there is tension. If you're holding yourself in a facade, there is tension inside of you. If you can become aware of it and notice it, then you can focus on it. You can feel those feelings. And it might take holding your breath and just feeling that tension, finding out where it is in your body, just feeling it, noticing it, holding your awareness on it, because it's just stuck energy. And then you can do that, take a deep breath, then do it again. And you can do it again and again, especially if you're in a situation like you're watching a ball game, or you're in some kind of sporting situation and you're sitting in an audience, or if you're at a play and you're sitting in the audience, you can spend that time just to feel your feelings and allow that tension to release. So that's in the moment. Now, if you can't do something in the moment, or if you don't notice in the moment, you can come back to it later. And that just takes some imagination, right? You have to actually put yourself back in that situation, pretend you're back there, feel those feelings again. And then you can do the same thing. You can either use EFT, or you can feel your feelings. It's probably not quite as powerful as doing it in the moment, but it's almost as powerful. And it's, you can feel safe when you're doing it at home. and and just keep doing it. Keep tapping, or keep feeling your feelings until you feel some release. Then next time you're in that same situation, notice the difference. There will be a slight difference. It might be a big difference, it might be a small difference, but notice the difference and then do it again, right? Because you're now in the same situation, something similar is coming up. There's still probably some tension there, some facade. Do the same thing again. Either tap or feel your feelings. And then next time, you might react again, you might put on a facade again, but it will be slightly less. And if you do this over and over time, you will no longer put on a facade. You will be more of your true self in those moments. And when you're your true self, you're not holding yourself in that tension. And that tension you're holding yourself in affects your signal, right? It is a tense signal, and it is attracting more of that into your future. Whereas if you can be your true self in the moment, you're more relaxed in the moment, that's your signal. Then you're attracting more peace into your future. And wouldn't we all like that? Okay, that's what I wanted to talk about. So think of the facades, think of when you're putting them on, think of how you can change that, become aware at a deeper and deeper level. And we can see that happen. I can see that happening in society, right? People are becoming more aware at a deeper and deeper level. Some people are not, but a lot of people are. And just become aware, notice what's happening outside of you as well as what's happening inside of you. Because if you're noticing more people becoming aware outside of you, it's a reflection of you becoming more aware inside of you. So keep doing the work. Thanks for joining me. Please feel free to join me any of these Tuesdays. I'd love to talk with you, answer questions. It's kind of weird for me to say, because I never was this person who had this awareness before, but I do have a different perspective now than I did 20 years ago. And I want to help other people to gain that awareness too, because it's a great place to be. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.